Good morning, everyone. We will call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for April 21st, 2021 to order. Let the record show that all commissioners are present. First item on our agenda today is the order of business. Mr. Hadley, is there any changes or corrections to the order of business?
Mr. Chairman, there is not. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments or questions about the order of business? Not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Bollinger. Second by Commissioner Bush. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The order of business is approved. Item 2 on our agenda this morning is the minutes of the previous session, which was April 17, 2021. Commissioners, are there any corrections or concerns with those minutes? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the March 17th.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bollinger, second by Commissioner Dukart. Any further discussion regarding those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we will move into our action items this morning. First project, or first item on our agenda for during the action items is a Renaissance Zone project. This is to consider a request for a Renaissance Zone project at 341 First Street East with the legal description of the east 12.5 feet of Lot 15 and all of Lot 16 of Block 8 of the original plat of the City of Dickinson. Mr. Josephson looks like is handling this.
Yes, good morning, Commissioner Steve Josephson. This is a request from Don Paul for Renaissance Zone status for a vacant building at 341 First Street East. Mr. Paul owns the adjacent building, and it's the site of a retail liquor store, and he's purchased the subject property and wishes to expand into that. It meets the Renaissance Zone project criteria in terms of it is the amount of work will exceed 50% of the true value of the building, and I believe Mr. Paul is here in the audience to speak to. Said he would be here this morning to speak to this. Anyway, staff recommends approval. Staff recommends approval of the request to grant Renaissance Zone status for this project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Josephson. The applicant would like to say anything? This is the time. Maybe just give a little outline of the project.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Don Paul. I own Ponderosa Liquor, and we're just putting the two buildings together, and we're going to reface both buildings. So I think it'll be a big improvement for downtown, and just glad you got the program, because my estimate last August is looking more like a dream than the real estimate. I guess prices have gone up, so I'll take all the help I could get.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Paul? Yes.
Mr. Paul, is the new building coming down, or are you just combining?
Just combining them.
Okay.
Yeah. And we already we bought the parking lot from the city
Okay.
because we have a little parking issue.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioners. I think public hearing is the next thing in line here, so we will move into the public hearing portion to hear on this Renaissance Zone project. So if there's anyone in the public that would like to come forward to speak in regards to the Renaissance Zone project at 341 First Street East, please step forward, say your name, and give us your concerns or questions. Also, anyone that might be watching online can call into 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public or online that has any comments or concerns regarding this project, please step forward. All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And commissioners, what are your wishes?
I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of REN-001-21, the Don J. Paul petition for a Renaissance Zone tax exemption as being compliant with the City of Dickinson's Renaissance Zone plan, as amended effective July 1, 2019, and with the City of Dickinson comprehensive plan, as well as being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dukart. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Franchuk. Any further discussion, commissioners? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Renaissance Zone is approved. Thank you. Item 2 on our agenda this morning is to consider a rezone REZ-004-21 for a zone change from agricultural to rural residential for 30 acres located in the northwest quarter, all of Section 24, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, along the 5th Principal Meridian along 109th Avenue Southwest to the City of Dickinson, EZZ, Stark County, North Dakota. Mr. Hadley has got this one.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This 30-acre site, it corresponds to item 3 on the agenda. It's an ETZ plat. The applicant has done a great job in putting this information together. There hasn't been any public comments on it to date, and there will be 2 separate public hearings for the rezone and then the final plat. The intent is to create 6 rural residential lots out there.
Okay.
And I believe the applicant is here.
Anybody from the applicant, any representative from the applicant would like to step forward and make any comments? This is the time. Come on.
Morning. I'm Jody Tomatic. This is my husband, Andy, and we purchased the 30-acre parcel to divide. We did get the conditions of approval and that information that was given to us, and we would like to possibly remove number 7 for that HOA fee. Or not the fee, but to set up the HOA. Us as developers are going to maintain that road.
That'll be on the next item. We can address that. in the
Okay.
Final plat. This is just the rezone,
Okay.
the first
Okay.
first part of it.
Okay. Well, then I don't have anything else to
All
say.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we are looking, we'll open the public hearing to hear the rezone request. So if there's anybody in the public or online that has any concerns or questions regarding the rezoning request for the rural residential 30 acres known as the, let's see, no, along the Section 24, Township 140 North, Range 96 West. Anybody in the public have any questions or concerns regarding this rezoning request? Please step forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing regarding this. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant or Mr. Hadley? I would look for a motion on the rezone request.
Mr. Chairman, move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the proposed zone change REZ-004-21 as depicted in Attachment A, in meeting all the requirements of the City Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bullinger. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Dukart with a second. Commissioners, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 3 on our agenda this morning, which was in regards to the same property is to consider a preliminary final plat FLP-001-21 for the Grassland Subdivision located in the northwest quarter of Section 24, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, along the 5th Principal Meridian, along 109th Avenue Southwest, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. This request includes 6 proposed lots on the 30-acre parcel. Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not much else to say on this. It's a division that meets the intent of the rural residential zone. The applicant, if she wouldn't mind coming back up, and we could discuss her question on the HOA. Condition number 7, I believe. Staff would recommend approval of this. We haven't received any comments from the public.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
So on the conditions of approval section, I would like to eliminate number 7, that we shall set up an HOA for this development. We feel that with only 5 lots, 1 including ours, that we would just maintain that road ourselves.
Okay. Mr. Hadley?
If that's going to be duly noted to all the property owners, then I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Commissioners, any other questions or concerns regarding that? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will open the public hearing regarding this. This public hearing is to consider the final plat, the preliminary / final plat for the Grassland Subdivision. It would be 6 lots on 30 acres. If there's anybody in the public that has any questions or concerns regarding this application, please step forward or call into 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public or online, please step forward if you have any questions or concerns. Seeing or hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of FLP-001-21 Grassland Subdivision Preliminary Final Plot as conditioned and depicted in Attachment A and meeting all the, including the recommendation of removing 7. Is that right? Okay. And meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dukart. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Cordnoy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to item 4 this morning. This is to consider a preliminary / final plat for FLP-002-21 for the Coda subdivision located in the northwest half of the northwest quarter of Section 24, Township 140, North Range 96, west of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. The site is approximately plus or minus 20 acres and is in an agricultural zoning district. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is in the same section as the previous request, just north of it. Very similar request to a lot of them along 33rd there. It's a single-family home site is what's planned. I'm not sure if the owner is in the audience, but staff would recommend approval.
Okay, thank you.
No comments from the public on this either.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. The applicant is here. Would like to say anything. They could step forward, state their name.
Hi, good morning. Mallory Anderson. The plan is just to put a single-family home and a shop on the 20 acres. No plan to subdivide it or anything like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Commissioners, any other comments or concerns? Not, we will open the public hearing on this. This public hearing is for the Coda subdivision, Coda subdivision located in the northwest half of the northwest quarter of Section 24, Township 140, Range 96 West. It's a 20-acre site being replatted for a single-family home. Anybody in the public have any questions or concerns, please step forward. Anyone in the public or online at 456-7006 have any questions or concerns regarding this application? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, questions, concerns?
Chairman, I move that City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning recommend approval of FLP 002-21 for the proposed Coda subdivision preliminary final plat is depicted in attachment A and meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and is also being in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Commissioner Franchuk. Do we have a second?
Second. Second.
Second by Commissioner Karski. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to item 5. This is for a special use permit. To consider a special use permit SUP-001-21 for the operation of a temporary 1-year resource extraction operation on approximately 48 acres in the agricultural zone within the city of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a project that obviously supports the Exit 64 I-84 interchange project, which I believe the state of North Dakota, it's federally funded, but state of North Dakota and the city of Dickinson are involved with. This is the property just to the north and west of the interchange. It would be lowered down and then replaced, reseeded. The applicant is here, has some follow-up, I believe, on timelines and whatnot. I estimated timelines for their completion, but it's a 48-acre site. The only real concern, there was a public comment on the drainage that exists just to the north of this site. I'm sure that they will be providing erosion control, and the applicant can address that as well. But that was the only comment I've received from the public. Staff would recommend approval, and I think it'll actually create a viable piece of property to the northwest there that might be usable for development down the road, whereas right now it'd be a little bit of a challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
I don't know if Ms. Marshak has anything else on that project or not.
Sure.
No? Sorry.
All right, if the applicant's in the audience and would like to step forward and make any comments,
Yeah, put you on the spot.
please come on.
Do you guys have any questions?
Good morning.
Is-
I guess the only concern you had was the drainage, and I think it regards the drainage and the approach and stuff, but we do already have an approved SWIP plan with the state, and the approach is the way we put it in is going to be regulated by both the DOT and Stark County, so it will be, we'll
Right.
have to make it drain, so it shouldn't be even in question.
Okay.
And you're okay with the July 1st, 2022
Yes.
completion?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
This is northeast of the interchange, right? Not northwest.
Yeah, more, almost call it straight north, I guess,
Yeah.
Depends. We're redoing the off-ramp,
Right.
the eastbound off-ramp, so.
It's west of
West.
it's west of the highway.
You're doing the off-ramp to the westbound, right?
It's the off-ramp on the westbound. It's pretty much straight north of the,
Right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, commissioners? Thank you. You need a public hearing on this, Mr. Hammond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, if there's no other questions from commissioners for the applicant, we will open the public hearing. This public hearing is to hear for the special use permit for the operation of a temporary 1-year extraction of resources on approximately 48 acres within the city ETZ. Anyone in the public have any questions or concerns regarding this application? Or anyone on the phone at 456-7006? One more time, anybody in the public have any questions regarding the special use permit? All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the petition for SUP 001-21 for Barranco Brothers Incorporated for resource extraction, subject to the conditions listed above and items in Attachment A, as meeting all the requirements of the City of Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
I have a motion by Commissioner Karski. Do we have a
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dukart. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 6 on our agenda this morning. This is to consider a planned unit development PUD-001-21 at Patterson Lake PUD. Project is located in the southeast quarter of Section 7, Township 139 North, Range 96 West of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. The site will be subdivided into a total of 27 lots in the concurrent application for the Patterson Lake Estates First Edition, generally located on Patterson Lake Drive on the southeast corner of Patterson Lake. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next 4 items, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all obviously related. 6 and 7 directly related, and the PUD allows them to go through the process to do a final plat that follows up on that. They're 4 separate items because they're non-contiguous. With this particular application, I think it's probably best, there's not a lot as far as staff right now for comments on it. The applicant is here. I think he's well versed in the history of it. I've been a part of the history of it, but I think he's more well versed on the history of Patterson Lake and this project. So it's had a long haul number of years. We're excited to actually legitimize it for the owners out in that area. So I think if you start with the applicant, it'll kind of lay the ground rules for the rest of the 4 applications. There hasn't been any comments from the public on this.
The applicant would like to come forward.
Thank you, Commissioners. James Kramer, Dickinson Parks and Recreation. So Walter asked me to give you about 70 years of history in 2 minutes, so that might be why the room just cleared. I'm not sure. But as Walter stated, this has been a very, very unique project. In my 30 years of working here, it was probably one of the most challenging projects that we've ever undertaken at the Park District. So as most of you know, the 1,600 acres around Patterson Lake have always been owned by the Bureau of Reclamation, and they've been managed by either the City of Dickinson or the Park District for the entire 70 years. So that has created some challenges for people who own cabins out there in trying to buy and sell them, do improvements, things like that. So we have always managed the recreational lands, the beach, the cabin sites, the campgrounds, boat ramps, the wildlife management land. That was always our responsibility. Moving forward to 2018, Senator Hoeven, after numerous efforts of different cabin owners, Senator Hoeven finally got federal legislation passed that would allow the sale of federal land to public entities. And not only at Patterson Lake in Stark County, but also the Jamestown Reservoir in Stutzman County. So both of those entities are going through this same process. And like I said, it's about 1,600 acres. The reason that they needed to do it this way is that it was a very messy situation for the federal government to individually sell 40 lots to cabin owners. So they needed a middle entity, a middle person, and that we were so lucky to be us. So we got to be the middle person that kind of walked everybody through the process. And basically what the federal legislation said is that the Bureau would deed all of the land to the Parks and Recreation. The Parks and Recreation then would have to deed those individual cabin site lots to the people who owned the structures on those lots. We also could continue to manage all the other lands exactly the way we are now. We can't deviate from that unless it falls within some sort of recreational opportunity that they deem appropriate. We also cannot sell any other of the land of the 1,600 acres. It needs to continue to be public land. So there are a fair amount of restrictions that were placed on us by the federal government. The next step was to set the boundaries and the lots for these 41 sites, which, as you can imagine, after people living in them for 20, 30, 40 years, everybody had an expectation of where they thought those lot lines and boundaries may be. Johnny planted these trees when their little kids grew up, and I put a shed here. All of those things had to be considered as we tried to draft those boundary lines. And the one thing we did is we tried to be very transparent and open with the cabin owners. So we started right away with public hearings to get them included in what the process would be. We also did individual meetings with every one of the owners that wanted to come down and sit with us and talk through all of the different issues. And then lastly, we physically went and walked every site after the stakes were put in with any of the cabin owners that were interested in asking questions or had concerns. So at that point, we walked away with 41 identified lots. We then sat down with Houston Engineering, and that is where we are today with a PUD and a plat ready to take the next step. If everything goes smoothly and this is approved, ultimately we are waiting for appraisals. Each of those 41 lots will have an appraised value, and hopefully sometime soon we will be able to sit down and offer those lots to the cabin owners that sit on those lots. They do not have to buy those lots. They also will be given the option to continue to permit with the Park District exactly the way it is right now. So they would have an annual permit fee, and it would continue to be Park District land, and we would manage those lots exactly the way we do now. And we are aware there are lot owners that do not want to buy their lots, so that will happen. But we believe the vast majority will step up and want to participate in purchasing those lots. So that's a quick history. I'd be happy to answer any questions before we take the next step.
Any questions for Mr. Kramer?
I have one, Mr. Chairman. Do you have a value, like, per square foot now on those lots?
We don't. The appraiser, actually it was supposed to be in last Friday. They are not complete, but what they will do is, obviously they're taking into account the lot size, but also the distance of the shoreline. They rank the shoreline in levels 1, 2, and 3, 1 being low end and 3 being high end, and they come to us with an individual price for each of those lots.
And some of them go all the way down to the water, so that would be included?
Yes. And I'll let Sean talk a little bit more on that elevation and where that ends up when we get into the plat side of it. But there's also a restriction on there. The federal government will not allow any construction past a certain elevation on those lots, and in some of those lots it's fairly high up. So, but none of those things have changed. Those people, that was always in the permit. So what we tried to do is keep it as consistent as possible.
I would recommend you encourage them all to buy them, because they're really hard to finance. When it's kind of like any Mossett Bay or McKenzie Bay, if you don't own the land, it's really hard to get financing. So. Yeah,
and every one of them are in a different financial situation, and every one of them have a different valued structure on that lot. So in some cases, again, I'm just going to throw out numbers that we've kind of estimated they're going to come in at. If those lots are $60,000, $70,000, not everybody will want to purchase that lot for a $20,000 cabin or trailer.
James, how does that affect the property taxes out there?
So it's out of city limits, so it is strictly, they pay county
Okay.
Taxes. They do not pay taxes to the city of Dickinson or the Park District.
Okay.
But it will increase the taxes they pay at the school district and the county level.
If they buy the lot.
If they buy the lot.
Is the park board in a position where they can sell on a contract for deed, or do you take in all the money at once?
So we will, in a perfect world, this is going to happen slowly, and we will designate the last week of each month where we will close on all of these individual lots. So we are incurring all the expenses as a park district, and it will push to $250,000 by the time we are said and done. We are allowed to reimburse ourselves from the sale of the lots until we have reimbursed ourselves, then the money goes to the federal government. So we are not going to benefit from any of this other than we get to recoup our expenses.
Mr. Kramer, I believe contract for deed was never discussed though, and I don't think that's going to be an option.
I'm sorry, no, not contract for deed. They're all going to be quick claim deed, really quick sale, unless they need to do a mortgage and refinance things, because a lot of them right now, I would say most of them don't have mortgages because it's very difficult to get a mortgage on a home when you don't own the land under the home. So some of them, this will give them an opportunity to maybe financially get their business in order and mortgage those, finance the lot. But our attorney, Randy Sickler, is going to handle that process, and we've started with the abstract to hopefully speed things up so we can move forward. But no, they won't be contract for deed.
So you're thinking between 80 and 100,000 for the lots, or?
Jamestown's are complete, and theirs fell in between 40 and 60. Now, he warned me that everybody's different, every reservoir is different, and every community is different. So where they'll end up, I don't know, but that's where Jamestown Reservoir did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
On these lots now, if they decide not to buy it, purchase it, can they do it later or another owner do it? Or?
They can do it later. Each one will be handled by the park board at that time, but it can be in conjunction with a sale, of the cabins, or it could be just done because it's the right time for them.
So James, in the event of a sale, does the new owner have to buy the lot?
No.
No, okay, so it can go into perpetuity basically.
They can
on the
continue to
permit.
do it the way it is now, where they buy the structure. We would continue to own the land and permit that space.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Kramer.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will open the public hearing on this PUD. Anybody in the public or on the phone at 456-7006 has any comments or concerns regarding the Patterson Lake First Edition PUD, please step forward, state your comments. Anyone in the public have any questions or concerns regarding this PUD? Seeing or hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Mr. Commissioner, I move, Commissioners and Chairman, I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the Patterson Lake PUD 001-21 with listed conditions as depicted in Attachment A, as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bush. Do we have a second? Second. Motion by Mr. Bullinger. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 7, which is to consider the preliminary final plat for FLP-004-21, Patterson Lake Estates First Edition, a 27-lot subdivision plan for the existing home sites on the southeast corner of Patterson Lake along Patterson Lake Drive, and described as a parcel located in the southeast quarter, Section 7, Township 139, north, Range 96 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, this is a corresponding final plat for those 27 lots in the first portion of this request. Staff has no additional comments on it. The applicant has, just to clarify, the final plat will go to the second reading of the city commission level, and the applicant has requested that it meets all the R1 zoning standards of today and the city zoning code. So just to clarify those things, those are a little different than the planned unit development report.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Hadley, Commissioners? If not, if somebody from the applicant has any comments regarding the final plat, step forward.
The Chairman, Commission, Sean Soren, Houston Engineering. We've put these plats together for the Dickinson Parks and Rec, and as you can see, this one is a 27-lot subdivision for Patterson Lake Estates First Edition. It's been a challenge trying to go out and establish these lot lines when you already have pretty much things developed around it, but I think we did a really good job working through that and establishing these lot lines. I will point out the one question that was asked about the lake. These lots, the way they're set up, does go to normal pool elevation, so right to the normal pool elevation of the water on every one of these lots is the intent of this plat. And so it's a little bit different when you see that lakeside and where the pins are going to be, and then there's a distance out to the actual lot line because they won't be pinned at the shoreline, but the lot does extend to the normal pool elevation of the water. And that's for this one as well as the second addition too that you'll be talking about. So
Okay.
certainly be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Soren? All right, thank you. All right, we will open the public hearing regarding the final plat. If anybody in the public or on the phone at 456-7006 has any comments or concerns regarding the final plat for the Patterson Lake Estates First Edition, please step forward and state your name and your concerns. Anyone in the public have any questions or concerns regarding the Patterson Lake Estates First Edition? Seeing or hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the final plot application FLP-004-21 with listed conditions and as depicted in attachment A as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dukert. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cordnoy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 8 on our agenda this morning. This is a PUD, Planned Unit Development for PUD-002-21 for the Patterson Lake PUD number 2. The project is located in the south half of Section 7, Township 139 North, Range 96 West of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. The site will be subdivided into a total of 15 lots in the concurrent application for the Patterson Lake Estates Second Edition, generally located on the south end of Patterson Lake along Little Hale Court. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a lot to say on this particular one. It's a request for the planned unit development, same request to the west of this location, so it encompasses all the western residential lots that exist along Patterson Lake. I don't think I'm doing that. I hope not.
Technical difficulties.
Anyways, there hasn't been any comments on this particular request or from that portion of this project either.
Okay. This is a similar situation. I don't know if the applicants want to make any comments. Commissioners have any questions for the applicants on this?
Chairman, I guess I should ask before, but are there units on all 42 lots right now?
There's one that's not, and it's in the first one, lot 27,
Far south?
far west. And the only reason we did that is because it's the only piece of property within the plat that could be potentially developed in the future or sold to the neighbor.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. With that, we will, Mr. Hadley, you got anything else?
I don't. Sorry.
Okay. With that, we will open the public hearing on PUD number 2 for the Patterson Lake second edition. If anybody in the public has any questions or concerns regarding this PUD, please step forward or call into 456-7006. Anyone in the public or online have any questions or concerns? Seeing or hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, I'd look for a motion.
Chairman, I'll move.
Go ahead.
Proceed. I'll move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the PUD application, PUD-002-21, with the list of conditions and as depicted in attachment A, as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare.
We have a motion by Mr. Bullinger. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Franchuk. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9 is part of the item 8 we just talked about. This will be a final plat. This is to consider a preliminary final plat for FLP-005-21 Patterson Lake Estate Second Edition, a 15-lot subdivision plan for existing home sites on the south end of Patterson Lake along Little Hale Court, as described as a parcel located in the south half of Section 7, Township 139 North, Range 96 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Dickinson, ETZ, Stark County, North Dakota. Mr. Hadley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, 15-lot corresponding subdivision. This particular plat will also go to the second reading in May to the City Commission, and then the project will be fully complete. Once again, no comments from the public on this request either.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Hadley? All right, we will open the public hearing on FLP-005-21. This application is for the final plat of the Patterson Lake Estate Second Edition along Little Hales Court. Any questions or concerns from the public, please step forward and state them now, or call into 456-7006. Anyone from the public have any comments or concerns? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, before I make a motion, I'd just like to comment. I'd like to thank Mr. Kramer, first of all. Without his 30 years of experience in all this, he's done a wonderful job. We needed that experience on this. And the land tenants out there, congratulations, guys. This has been a big deal for you. You're about to become landowners, and this is one of the final hurdles for them. It's a pretty cool deal for you guys, and it's been good working with you on it. And with that, I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the final plat application FLP 005-21 with the above listed conditions of approval and as depicted in attachment A as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Karski, second by Commissioner Dukart. Any further discussion on this application?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would echo Mr. Karski's comments, and I've never been personally invested in it, but I've been hearing about this for 10 years from various landowners. Fantastic that it's finally coming to a conclusion.
Agreed. All right. Oh,
If I could too, I just want to thank Walter and all the city staff too that walked us through this. This was literally a 3-year process, and it took a lot of people to kind of get us to where we are today, and this definitely wasn't in my wheelhouse of expertise, so thank you to everybody at the city who helped out.
thank you. Nicely done. All right. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, everyone out there. All right, we will move to item 4 on our agenda this morning, public issues of city concern not on the agenda. During this session, if anybody in the public has any items that they would like to be heard in front of the commission, they can step forward to the mic or call into 456-7006 to be heard. Anyone in the public? Seeing or hearing none, we will close the public portion of the meeting. Move on to item 5. Items not on the agenda. Commissioners or staff have any items that they'd like to discuss that were not on our agenda? This would be the time. Please step forward, commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one reminder for the next meeting,
Mr. Hadley?
if I could.
Yep.
We only have one action item next month, so enjoy that. But we will have some work session items, I believe, that Stephen will be bringing forward, so we will have some discussion on some items. One of the items that I think that we're going to talk about as well is the distance from closed wells, capped wells. Right now, we process variances for 50-foot leniency on some of these. We're going to ask that we do something similar to what Colorado State Code has, that allows our city to grant that 50-foot waiver from an existing capped well. They've seemingly come up a number of times. We haven't visited directly with Ms. Winko on this, but we surely will before next month. But it's something that we're looking to maybe clean it up so it doesn't go through that process, because it's a little cumbered, and I think it'd be better if we just dealt with it. We've dealt with it a lot in the last 2-3 years, that particular issue. So.
Okay.
Mr. Henley, are you talking about capped or plugged? Is there a difference?
Capped, plugged, we're going to define that. We're going to define that and move forward. It seemingly the state doesn't really regulate that, and so we can take the next step and regulate it. So.
If I can jump in, just our regular code right now just specifies a 300 feet separation. It doesn't spell out what that means about the well itself. So it would definitely help staff moving forward if we could have some more guidance within the code as to if the well's capped, plugged, or active, what those distances look like, what those offsets are. So this would be helpful for us moving forward.
Are they, Mr. Chairman, are they under reclamation or not? I mean, can they go and fix them?
Some
Remove
of them
them?
have just been found, they've been long capped and abandoned. The most recent ones have been in that category.
I think what staff has found in the research is that they're capped. The intent is probably not to move forward, but there's always that possibility there, unless there would be development. Then by guidelines with the state, that probably would not be able to move forward and reactivate that well.
That's interesting, because I think plugged and capped are two completely different things.
Mm-hmm. Correct. That's my understanding.
Plugged is reclaimed, redone, everything.
Yeah. We will try to dig through that and bring something forward.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything?
Stephen, do you have any items that you want to mention?
All right, then we will move on to the next item. Item 6, we have nothing on our work session items for this month, so that we'll have nothing there. And then item 7, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Second.
That's Ms. Dukart. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.